So I just got back from the Ironman in Arizona, and much to tell you all about. One thing for sure was I was really excited to be back into the triathlon scene, and being around some of the world's best athletes was really exciting again. The triathlon village with all of the bikes and all of the different people from all over the world. There were like 30 countries represented, and every state in the union was there. There were 2,500 athletes. It was really an exciting venture, and I felt like I was really, really happy that I made the decision to go back to doing Ironman competitions, which as you know, I haven't done for 26 years. There was a lot of young people, and I got to meet that had never done a triathlon before, and the fact that I had done Kona, to them it was like, wow, you've done something that we could only dream of. So that was exciting to be part of the old school. And then we got to the first aspect of it, which was doing body painting, where they put your numbers on, and I'm online getting my numbers put on. And the guy who's putting my numbers on said, "Didn't I see you in an event a month or so ago?" And I said, "No." He said, "You look awful familiar." He said, where are you from?" And I said, "Florida." He took his hat off and he said, "Doc, it's Jeff Flocker. You were my coach back in 1988 when I trained for the race across to the Americas." So here's a guy I haven't seen in over 20 years painting the numbers on my arms. And I trained him. I was his coach in 1988, training him to do the race across the Americas, which is a race, a 3,000-mile bicycle race from the East Coast to the West Coast. So it was really exciting to meet Jeff again. He and his wife, we had dinner later after the event, after the Ironman event. So that was one of the exciting parts of it, was to meet up with old friends, he in particular and his wife. Then we got to the day before the event, and they told us that we could wear wetsuits because the water temperature was below 68 degrees, except they gave us a training day. So the morning before the event, before the Ironman, on Saturday, we got to get in the water just to see how it felt. And it was really tough. It was 62 degrees, and it was hard swimming. It was really, really hard. I was having trouble breathing. My son got in the water, and he said, "Dad, it's really cold." And it really was. I developed something I haven't had in over 30 years, which was exercise-induced bronchospasm. So I couldn't swim because my lungs had tightened up. So I knew going in the next day, I knew the water temperature was going to be 61, and I really kind of had to make a decision, are you going or not? It was one of those moments in life when you decide you're either going to get into this and really do it and disregard what happened to you the next day. But I have to admit that throughout the day, I kind of was a little disappointed that that had happened to me, because I never anticipated anything like that. During the night, I didn't sleep that well. I sort of felt, well, am I really doing the right thing? Should I be, all those questions that you go through in life, I had them all. I woke up in the morning and I knew immediately, I've got to be in that water with 2,500 people. I don't care what the temperature of the water is. I don't care what the air temperature was. They haven't had rain in Arizona in, they have rain about once every 3 years. They get 4 inches a year. That morning it was supposed to rain. That morning it was cloudy. That morning it was cold. And that morning the water temperature was 61 degrees. But I want to tell you, the most thrilling experience next to going to Kona and stepping in the water with 1,100 people in 1984, it was diving in that water with 2,500 athletes that had trained their bodies to be there, and it was exciting. So I did. I got in the water, and my swimming in the beginning was great, and about probably 200 yards into the swim, or maybe 300, I don't remember when, I developed exercise-induced bronchospasm. Fortunately, there was a way where you could hold on to a ledge on the wall for a while, and so I did that, cleared my lungs, and there were people lined all along the wall, and all they kept doing was cheering you on. It was like you were at the end of the race instead of the beginning of the race, because all of them knew, and they said it, we don't have what you have being in the water. So it was really kind of exciting to be in that place where people were cheering for you, even though you knew you were breaking down. So I kept going, and fortunately there was a way for my family to follow me along. They kept saying to me, you know, you're getting cold, get out of the water. I swam for an hour and 10 minutes, and it started getting to where I was putting myself in harm's way. I got hypothermic. The temperature was down, the temperature was low. My body temperature was low. I really had to get out of the water. So I definitely knew that I made the right decision. So I literally got an hour and 10 minutes into the race, never got on the bike, never got into the run, because the cutoff time was 2 hours and 20 minutes. I knew I couldn't make it. But I learned a lot of things, and I wrote some of them down. You know, I know that you got to set your goals and you have to stick to it. No question about that. I know that you learn. One of the things I learned is I learned to humble myself. I really tried to keep going, but I couldn't. So I learned humility in a way that I don't think I've never not finished a race in my entire life. So this was a first for me. I learned that you should accept anything that happens to you whenever it gets delivered, and, you know, just realize when it happens, so what? It happens. Enjoy your failures. I think I probably enjoyed this failure more than almost any other failure I've had, because it's the first time. And for me, first times are the best, because it's kind of like the first time you had your child was born. This was the first time I ever failed in an athletic event, and that's a big deal. But it also means that the victories, the future is much brighter. So I can't tell you how important it is to learn about your failures. Commit again and again and again. So I'm registered, just so you all know, for August 2011. I'm already on, the day after the event, I registered for Ironman in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm going to Louisville, Kentucky to do the Ironman. And before that event, I'm going to do a half Ironman in Orlando as a warm-up in May. So I'm back on the horse. It's no different than it was before. The beauty is I didn't get injured. I'm trained a lot better than I was 6 months ago. So I think Louisville will be much more exciting to me. And if not Louisville, remember the goal is I'm going back to Kona 26.2 years later. So don't give up. Keep going. Set your goals. Be humble. And realize that the failures are just as important as the successes. Maybe more important. Because I can tell you one thing. I know what it's like to be an Ironman again. I know that feeling again, and I don't want to let it go. I just want to, it's part of my DNA. So that's my story for now. I'm back on, my bike will be here on Thursday. So if you want to come for a ride, I'll be on the road on Saturday. Okay? Have a great, great, great day. See you guys.